1. The claim. In Islam, the Quran is not a book that describes a miracle. It is the miracle. That is a bold claim, and an unusual one, because it invites testing. If a book is truly beyond human authorship, the closer you look at it, the more it should hold. So consider what it is already doing at once. It is the manual for a human life, law, worship, justice, death, and what follows it, carried in Arabic so exact in its rhythm that men who came to mock it stayed to memorize it. 14 centuries later, millions hold all 6,236 of its verses word for word, and we are still finding more inside it every year. Getting the meaning right is hard. Getting the rhythm right is hard. Doing both at once is something no human has ever reproduced. Now add one more layer, mathematics. Not in the words, in the architecture. 2. Even and odd. In Surat Al-Fajr, Allah swears an oath, وَالشَّفْعِ وَالْوَتْرِ, by the even and the odd. Scholars have explained that oath in many ways: the prayers, the days of Hajj, creation and its creator. It may well mean something else entirely. It is simply what made us ask a question. 3. The experiment. The Quran has 114 chapters, and every chapter carries two numbers, where it sits in the book and how many verses it holds. Here is the whole experiment. For each chapter, add those two numbers together. Al-Fatiha sits at number 1 and holds 7 verses. 1 plus 7 is 8, even. Al-Baqarah sits at number 2 and holds 286 verses. That gives 288, even. Al-Imran sits at number 3 and holds 200 verses. 203, odd. Do that 114 times and drop each answer into one of two piles, even and odd. Now count them. The even pile holds 57 chapters. The odd pile holds 57. The book divides itself into two perfect halves. That alone is interesting. What comes next is not. 4. The ledger. Stop counting the piles and start adding them up. Take the odd pile. All 57 answers together. 6,555. Now set that aside and forget verses entirely. Add up the chapter numbers themselves. 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way to 114. That total is also 6,555. Now the even pile. All 57 of its answers. 6,236. And the number of verses in the whole Quran? 6,236. One half of the book hands you back the sum of every chapter number in it. The other hands you back its total count of verses. Engineers call this, in their world, a checksum. 5. Close. Now put that back where it came from. A man who could not read or write, 14 centuries ago, reciting in fragments as events unfolded around him, and not in the order you now find the chapters in. And understand what those fragments were. Much of the Quran is not abstract. It is revelation arriving in the middle of a real life, answering things as they happen. A battle is fought at Badr, and verses come down about it. The next year, the Muslims are broken at Uhud, and verses come down about that. A woman comes to the Prophet, peace be upon him, disputing over her husband, and a chapter opens by telling her that Allah has heard her argument. His wife Aisha is slandered across the city, and her innocence is declared in the Quran itself. Again and again, they ask you about the new moon, the orphans, the spoils of war, and the answer arrives. Nobody scheduled those events. Battles, accusations, questions, treaties, deaths, arriving out of order, on their own timing, across 23 years. A man reciting in response to them cannot know how long a chapter will finally be, because the life that fills it has not been lived yet. And what he leaves behind is a book of law, worship, justice, death, and what follows it, carrying history, prophecy, and warning, in Arabic so exact in its rhythm that the men who came to mock it stayed to memorize it. All of that in 23 years. Carrying that same checksum? For this to be a human work, its author would have had to know the final verse count of all 114 chapters before he finished the first, while the events that decide those counts had not yet happened. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Do they not reflect upon the Quran? Had it been from any other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction. Surat An-Nisa, verse 82. Count it yourself, then decide what you are looking at. Like the video and subscribe. We are going through the miracles of the Quran one at a time, and there are many left.